Ladies and gentlemen, we are backstage here at Southside Wrestling Ill Manners 2016, and I am joined by Montavious Porter, MVP. MVP, thank you very much for giving me this time, first and foremost. Firstly, how was your experience of Southside Wrestling?
You know, it's the reputation of Southside Wrestling is pretty impressive because your reputation precedes your organization. Been here since last week, and in my time, people have asked me, where are you going to be? And I said, well, I'll be here, and I'll be at Southside Wrestling. And everyone, to a man and woman, has said, oh, you're going to have a blast at Southside. Man, they do it right. The fans are awesome. And they were very adamant about the fact that the kid is the boss.
Yes, absolutely. Don't cross the boss either.
Don't cross the boss, yeah. He made it very clear when I walked through the door, hey, check this out, let me talk to you.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Second question then. So with regards to British wrestling, do you see what's going on here in Britain at the moment? Because obviously in 2016, it's quite hot. There's a lot of good things happening here. Do you see much of that?
Actually, I do a podcast, and it's called The VIP Lounge on MLW.com. And Alex Greenfield and myself were talking about this last year. For a while, we were talking about the level of talent coming up out of the entire UK at the moment. And, you know, British wrestling in particular has a very rich, grand history. And Norman Smiley, who was one of the individuals who polished me up and taught me a lot, you know, he turned me on to names like Johnny Saint, and Jim Breaks, and Mark Rollerball Rocco, you know, World of Sport. So it's beautiful to see the resurgence of that now at this time. You've got guys that are literally taking over the world, Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay. You know, you got slugger heavyweights like Mastiff and Rampage Brown, and you know, everywhere right now, everyone all over the world is just talking about the resurgence and the hotbed of wrestling in the UK.
And it's still sticking true to our roots as well. Like, you talk about your Johnny Saint and the catch can wrestling. Zack Sabre Jr. is still doing that now, and catch wrestling's as popular now as it ever was. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And you know, fortunately, you have people like, you know, the technical wizard, Zack Sabre Jr., you know, carrying that message around the world. And that's something that, in my training, because, you know, the guys who I looked up to were these British legends and these Japanese legends, and I had guys like Norman Smiley polishing me up, you know, guys like Chris Benoit, who were my mentors, teaching me that kind of style and that way. So I love the catch can. You know, I actually do do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I compete in tournaments, you know, for the IBJJF. So for me, you know, it's one of those things where I appreciate that a lot of the guys, especially here in England, have that throwback mentality where we don't just play wrestlers on TV, we are grapplers.
Well, it takes it back to a sporting route as well. I think professional wrestling went down a very entertainment path. It's now coming back to a sporting route. Do you see that happening? Obviously, with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's taking, you can see effects of that in pro wrestling. Kickboxing's coming in, catch wrestling's coming in, lots of different, even boxing is having, do you see that happening? And obviously, do you believe that's a good thing?
I do. You know, if you look at, you know, for years, you know, people who know me know that I'm a massive fan of Japanese wrestling. Yes. So much so that I asked to be released from my WWE contract so that I could pursue my dream of wrestling in Japan. And in Japan, wrestling is still treated as sport.
Yeah.
You can open up the sports section of the paper and read about it. And the UK and Japan, England specifically, have always had that connection. You know, you've always, you know, you had guys like Dave Taylor and William Regal and Dynamite Kid, you know, going over back in the day, and Mark Rollerball Rocco, you know, just making their presence felt and putting a stamp on it. And you know, that shoot style, people appreciate that. And now with the massive popularity of MMA, you know, the entertainment aspect of pro wrestling will always be there, and it's necessary. But, you know, people realize now that when you get punched in the face, you get split open.
Yeah,
and it
very
hurts,
much so.
You know? And when you grab a guy in a certain lock, the arm's going to break in a few seconds. So, you know, with this, it makes everybody kind of step their game up because, okay, yeah, it's entertainment, but don't insult my intelligence.
It also becomes a skill as well. It's not something that kids are going to try, so actually that looks really hard to do, which again is going to benefit the whole sport. Right?
Well, you know, I'll give credit to Dean Malenko. Dean Malenko once said to me and to a few other guys, when an 8-year-old kid goes home and does this to his 7-year-old little brother, it should hurt a lot. And if it's done right, well, hey man, you do an arm bar, someone's elbow can pop. When you grab a wrist lock, it only takes 8 pounds of pressure to break that wrist.
Wow.
So, and the reality is there, and that's why one of the reasons that I've always been a fan of like the strong style,
Yeah.
because it's not ballet, it's a struggle. It's 2 men in the ring battling. It's combat, and watching now with mixed martial arts, you actually see it's a struggle. It's not ballet. It's not perfect. It doesn't flow. And when it does, whoa, did you see how he did that? The ease. But then you realize that, wow, that guy's on an elite level. And it should be the same way in pro wrestling. When someone does something with that kind of magnificent brilliance, like, oh, okay, but it's a struggle. It's a fight.
You could say that about any sport, couldn't you? It's going back to the sporting root, which is what we said at the very beginning of this.
Which, I'm agreeing with.
Oh, it should be, yeah, absolutely. Final question then in this interview. We are here end of 2016. If I was fortunate enough to interview you in a year's time, where would you want MVP to be at the end of 2017?
At the end of 2017, I should be about a year out from retirement.
Wow.
Still, hopefully, working the independent circuit. I'm at a point now in my life, I'm a father now, I have a 2-year-old son, and, I don't want to sign any more contracts. I don't want to be obligated to anyone but to myself and to my son. So as it stands now, I don't have to get out of bed before noon if I'm not paid to, I work primarily on the weekends.
What's that like? That sounds awesome.
Oh, it's absolutely marvelous,
Yeah.
But after spending 5 years with WWE on that 250-day-a-year schedule, I'm fortunately in a place where, after that, I went to New Japan and I had my time there and I had time in TNA. And I've done just about everything I've wanted to do, So now, I want to take these final years, and I want to work as much as I can, but I want to have fun on my way out the door. So by the end of 2017, hopefully we'll be talking about my
retirement.
And my retirement. Yeah.
I suppose it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Like the WWE gave you the platform that's put you in this position,
Absolutely.
But from leaving it's what's given you the comfort.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you pay your dues, you put your work in, and hopefully you're smart and invest well, and you put yourself in a position where you don't have to punch a time clock, And hopefully, what I'd like to do when it's all said and done, at some point I want to do a book, and I want to be a motivational speaker, because my life story is one that's pretty amazing sometimes. When I think about the fact that when I was 17 years old, I was sitting in prison with an 18-and-a-half-year prison sentence for robbery and had no idea what the future would hold. And then you fast forward, I'm standing in a ring at WrestleMania across from one of my wrestling heroes, and it's the surrealism of it.
Yeah.
So when I tell people my story, it's pretty inspirational, and that's something I want to do. And I want to open up a bar. I want to sit down, I just want to sip on a pint and tell people what to do, and have some cute bartenders that I can flirt with, and some cute waitresses, and
me and Harry will go to that.
Yeah, come on,
we'll come along.
absolutely, yeah, come on. As a matter of fact, I really want to. I don't want to do like a wrestling themed bar, but a couple nights a week, have a little wrestling party, do a little Monday Night Raw party, pay-per-view party kind of deal. But for the rest of the week, it's a neighborhood tavern.
That sounds like a perfect retirement.
That's what I'm working on, yeah.
MVP, thank you very much for being here at Southside, and I wish you a happy
Absolute
New
pleasure.
Year and a happy Christmas to you too.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Ballin'.